Morning, everybody. It says this hangout is on the air, so presumably you can hear me and see me. This is Len, and it is October 27th, 2015, and this is Lunch with Len, and glad to see everybody on board today. Before I jump into today's topic, which is advertised to be content creation, I'm going to put out that Thursday is going to be an unprogrammed. I'd like everyone who's interested in Lunch with Len to jump on with me Thursday and let's have an open conversation about two things. One, what results we're getting. And last week, for example, we did Facebook ads. We did an ad to a blog, to a website, and I got some results from running that ad. So I can share with you the results that I got and some other things. Chris is going to talk a little bit about the Web of Trust, and anyone else who's getting any results at all. And I have a few other things to chat about, and then also a little chat about the future, where we're going, what you'd like to see happen. So how does that sound? I hope everybody is in agreement with that. I'm going to jump into today's topic right away, and I'm going to go to screen share in just a moment here. But first, let me tell you, we have talked a little bit from time to time about content creation. What you're going to see today is the most complete content creation presentation that I've done. And this falls in the lines of Invest, Learn, Teach, and I'll explain that in just a moment. So let me go live, and let me go to screen share. So I'm going to assume you can see my screen, and Chris is going to let me know that you can, in between eating her tacos, right?
Yeah.
You can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
We're all good to go. Okay. Content creation strategies. For some of you, we're going to cover some topics that are going to be, oh, I knew that already, elementary. So this is going to be not all brand new information, but I think there's going to be some twists in here that is pretty new to everybody. I'm going to tell you the source of this. It is mostly coming from a webinar that Justice Egan did not too awfully long ago in his private workshop, which I'm a member of. And I've cloned some of his material. So in the interest of pushing on with the concept of Invest, Learn, Teach, I've invested in Justice's workshop. I've attended his webinars, and now I'm going to teach you some of the things that he does. But I'm going to also teach it in such a way that we have a complete presentation. And the first question is, why content? Why content? Is because you're trying to build you Inc. You want to build up your authority on the website. And the best way to build your authority is to teach, just to set yourself aside as an expert in your field, whatever that field happens to be, whether it's dog grooming or health and wellness or going to the gym, whatever. The other thing that content does is it gives us a bridge, and this is going to become increasingly apparent as we talk through this presentation today. It gives us a bridge to giveaways and offers. Facebook, I'm going to say this now and I'm going to come back to it later on. Facebook is becoming more and more finicky about posting ads that put sales pages out to strange audiences. So if we put up an ad that's direct to a sales page and we put it out to an audience like, say, fans of Ray Higdon, it doesn't take very many people to click on that ad and say, why am I seeing this ad? And have Facebook decide that you are sending out irrelevant material and shut your account down. More and more people are having their advertising accounts shut down. And there are some very clever and fun ways to work around that. We looked at some of them last week, and we're going to look at a couple more of them today. The other thing to think about is, we've talked about your blog post being your internet real estate. But every time you put up a piece of content, you are claiming internet real estate. So it's not just your blog post. Your posts on Facebook hang around for a long time. Your videos on YouTube hang around forever. Remember, YouTube is the second biggest search engine, if not the biggest. Now, I don't remember if they've passed Google or not, to be perfectly honest with you. But if they haven't, they're the second search engine, the second biggest search engine. People go out there and they search for content. And I've got videos that have been out there for 5 years and people still find them. I'd be absolutely amazed sometimes. I got a comment last week back to me about a video I put up about 4 or 5 years ago. So besides that, content is provides great value to your list. You want to mail it to your list. And here's where we go. Native advertising is becoming more and more popular. And what we mean by that is that we're running ads to content. We're going to talk more about that in a couple of slides. But instead of running ads to sales pages or ads to offers, we're running ads to content. And we did that last week on Thursday when we did the ad to our blog post, and I got several results from that. And I'm going to share that with you on Thursday when we share what we've actually been doing. I'll show you what my results are. But I was pleased that I got results, and I will tell you that I paid a little more for the results than I thought I would have to. But on the other hand, I have results. Now we can fine-tune the process. So I think everybody knows this, but we'll just say it and put it out there. Content options. First off, of course, video, very popular. You can put videos on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And I didn't know this, but there is an application called Vines that enables you to put 15-second videos on Twitter. I wasn't aware of that. I haven't used it. I don't know anything about it. But we can now put video on Twitter. Interesting idea. And of course, blog posts and audios, and we're going to look at audios a little bit later on today too. So, but video is the most popular, and we're going to do a lot of that, of course. We're going to talk a lot about video. The other thing is live content. As you know, we are live right now. We're on a webinar, and this is content, and it is being recorded, and I can repurpose it. We're going to talk about repurposing in a little bit. Conference calls, similarly, Google Hangouts, Periscope. And there's a thing called Facebook broadcast. And if anybody knows anything about Facebook broadcast, bring it to us on Thursday, because I don't really know anything about it. I'll just tell you that Justice mentioned it. I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. But these are all pieces of content that can also be repurposed, and they can be used. Now, you saw me do this last year. You saw me do a series of webinars last fall that I called Profit with Len. And then you saw me collect up that series of webinars, dust them off, clean them up a little bit, and turn it into the university course. So there's a remarkable example, or a very good example, of repurposing content. And I've been starting to look back through some of the Lunch with Len broadcasts and trying to think of ways that I can pull a half a dozen Lunch with Len broadcasts and turn them into a little mini course on various topics. So there's some interesting things that I can do there, and things that you can do too. But of course, that assumes that you're doing conference calls, webinars, Hangouts, and etc. Now, content ideas. One of the most popular content ideas is how to do things. Position yourself as an authority. How to lose 30 pounds how to get bikini ready by Christmas. Or bikini ready by summer. how to lose 30 pounds by Christmas. How to build your abs, etc. How to videos and blogs are very, very popular. The other thing that's very popular in building You Inc. is lifestyle. Share your lifestyle. And you've seen me do a lot of this. Videos about scuba diving, videos about water skiing. I've got some out there that are pretty old now about snow ski, and I didn't do any snow skiing last year at all because the conditions were so totally terrible that I just didn't bother getting my skis out of the closet. But not just, it doesn't have to be epic events in your life. It can be you went to the water park with your grandchildren, you went out to dinner with your significant other. Lifestyle videos give people who you're trying to build an audience with a glimpse into who you are as a person. Don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed. Put up things that give them a glimpse into who you are, so that they can get to know, like, and trust you and want to work with you. Product reviews. You saw a new product review go up. It wasn't specifically a product review, but you saw a video on a new topic go up from me the other day on telomeres and aging. And I'm not going to say anything more about that right now, but I'm just going to say that those kinds of things, and especially if you're in a company that has products that you can review, various products, weight loss products, for example. Be a reporter. Report about what you learned. I went to a conference, or I went to Lunch with Len, and what I learned. Take what I'm doing right now, and turn it around and turn it into a blog post. Here are some interesting ideas I learned about content creation on Lunch with Len. Of course, products, books, trainings. You've seen me do several book reports recently. I did, oh God, I can't pull a blank, but I did 2 or 3 book reports. And rather than me try to sit here and think about what they are, it doesn't really matter. The Miracle Morning. I did a book review of the Miracle Morning, for example. If you're in conversations or on coaching calls with people, talking to somebody about something, if they have a question, so does somebody else. Turn it into a blog post. And finally, I think this is a great idea. Maintain an idea file. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock. I was up and I was on my computer and I had this incredibly good idea for Coffee with Len this morning. And by the time the sun came up and I was ready to record Coffee with Len, I'd forgotten what my idea was. And I still, for the life of me, I can't remember. And I know it was good. How many of you have done that? How many of you have gotten an idea and then immediately forgotten about it? Put an audio app on your phone. I mean, all of us, we're all glued to our phone, right? You might as well put a screw into our forehead and dangle it from us. If you put an audio app on your phone, and this used to be, I remember, I can date myself now. I remember when we used to recommend to people that they carry around an audio recorder. Remember those little things called tape recorders? My God. And pick up your recorder and talk to it. So you can pick up your cell phone and talk to it when you get an idea for something, when you're out and about and driving, or you see a magazine on a rack or whatever. So there's, people often say, well, I don't know what to write about. There's content all over the place. It is so easy to come up with content. So easy. You just got to get over that block. And that block is coming from fear. It's coming from fear that nobody's going to think you have anything worth saying, that nobody's going to trust you, that nobody's going to think you have value. Who would I be? Oh, that's my God, I'm 50 pounds overweight. Well, get over it and do it. Lose some weight. That would be a good place to begin. But hey, there's lots of ideas out there. Repurpose your content also. As you all know, and I touched on this a minute ago, content takes time. It takes time to write a blog post. It takes time to do a video. It takes time to do a webinar. So maximize your effort. Every video is a blog, and every blog is a video. No 2 ways about it. If you write a blog post, do a video about it. If you did a video, write a blog post about it. And here's a new idea that I've thought of it before. I've heard of it before. I'm going to tell you that I haven't done it, but I'm going to start. All videos become audios and get uploaded to SoundCloud or become broadcasts, podcasts or something. And it's very easy to turn videos into audio. It's very easy to take your videos and to strip off the audio file and turn it into an MP3 file. And plus, don't forget, videos can be uploaded in multiple places. So you just don't put a video up on YouTube. You put it up on YouTube. You put it up on Facebook. And again, remember, YouTube is a huge search engine, so make sure your videos are getting up on YouTube, and at least do rudimentary SEO on them, so that there are keywords that people can search for and have a fighting chance of finding your video. And one other idea we kicked around before, and I'll kick it around and mention it again in another slide or two, is when you do a video, for example, when I do Coffee with Len in the morning, I might consider, and I am considering, creating a short and a long version. I typically try to keep that video to 2 to 3 minutes long, but I might consider also creating the short, less than 1 minute version, because that's applicable to Instagram. And now there's the 15-second version applicable to Twitter. So what a concept. Turn on your camera, do the 15-second video, do the 1 minute video, then do the 3 minute video. And now you've got 3 pieces of content that you can use in different places. 3 pieces of real estate you can claim. 3 more audiences that you can get in front of. How cool is that? Now, I want to talk about something. Justice called it the 2-step sales process. And I want to talk about this. We practiced it last Thursday. You saw an example. Facebook is becoming increasingly finicky about direct sales pages. You don't want to throw up a link to a sales page. And especially if you're going to advertise that link to audiences that don't know you. So, and I want to differentiate now advertising to an audience like, again, I'll pick on Ray Higdon. I'm going to put up an ad to Ray Higdon's customers, or Ray Higdon's people that like Ray Higdon, Ray Higdon's fan base, as opposed to putting up the ad to my own fan base, people who have already raised their hand and said they like me. Those are friendlier people. They're less likely to flag your ad as inappropriate or spam and put you in a position where Facebook is going to shut your account down. And we're not talking about a slap on the wrist here. We're not talking about a 7-day ban. We're talking about having your account disappear overnight and not be available. And of course, there's ways to work around it. You can always open another account. You can open a business account. But hey, why do it? If Facebook's not happy with it, and Facebook is increasingly concerned about the customer experience, just don't do it. There are better ways. So pre-frame the sale. Don't put up a capture page or a sales page. Do a short blog post. Do a short video. Put up a little video telling people to go to the blog post that you wrote today about the topic, and then the blog post leads them to the capture page or the sales page. So it's a two, maybe even a 3-step process. A short video telling people how wonderful your new blog post is and how they're going to get tons of value from it. Click here to go to my blog post. And they go to the blog post, and then they read the blog or whatever it is. Maybe it's a video out there too. And at the end of the blog post, there's the PS. If you want additional information, click here. Or maybe embedded in the blog post, there's calls to action. So don't forget the calls to action. For sure, put them there. But that's what we mean by the 2 or maybe even the 3-step process. So we're running our ads to a blog post or to a video or to some other piece of valuable underscore. Did I say valuable content? So we're not running directly to a sales page. Becoming increasingly powerful, as I said, mentioned, and you know, we did it last Thursday. We did a website conversion ad with a tracking pixel, and we ran it to my blog post on Walden Pond, and I did get 5. I believe I got 5 results, which isn't stellar. But I'll share the details with you on Thursday. I'll show you exactly what I got. Never create islands. Always have a next step. So sometimes we tend to create videos or audios or blog posts where we're sending people to a sales page, and there's no place for them to go from there. One item to sell. Always have a next step. Always create the funnel. Always be thinking about what the person can do and direct them to a relevant next step. So, you know, the MLSP funnels are good examples of that, because we take the people to MLSP, and then they get a free download or a cheat sheet or something, and then they get taken to the MLSP $10 trial, and then they get taken to the MLSP sign up here, and then they're taken into the other products and etc. So there's various steps in the process. So think about that. Again, a strong urge from Justice to just think about that when you're creating these things, so that you're asking yourself always, where can a customer go next for additional information? How can I enhance the customer's experience? So the next thing to consider is prepping for the future. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, that you know that there's a launch coming. Let's say, for example, that you know that we're going to relaunch my university course, and we are going to do that someday. So let me just use that as an example. What you might do is begin to prepare for it by writing blog posts and or videos that frame the need, pre-frame the need for an elementary complete total educational package that takes the beginner from A to Z and shows them everything they need to know. Now, a good example of that was Ray Higdon's 3-Minute Expert launch. Ray Higdon's blogs are normally about prospecting and MLM and etc. But for several weeks before his 3-Minute Expert launch, his blog content changed slightly. He was publishing about the need for personal branding and blogging. So he was building in his user's mind the idea that this stuff is really important and you need to pay attention to it. And then he did the online summit with recordings from various different marketers. And then he hit the street with the 3-minute expert, all about blogging and branding. And so look at what he did. He pre-framed the offer for 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, prepping the audience for the content that was coming. So this is something, and I'd never thought about this before, so I'm going to thank Justice. Thank you, Justice. So if you know, for example, that you're going to participate in a product launch coming from your favorite product launcher, whoever that happens to be, and you know what the product is going to be about, and you know it's going to launch in 2 or 3 weeks, start blogging about it. Not specifically, start just blogging about the topic and creating the need in the minds of your customers for that kind of information, so that when the day comes for the product to launch, your customers have been prepped. They go, wow, you've been telling me about that for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Gee, this is something I should be interested in, huh? Let me look. Again, we talked a little bit about repurposing content. This may be a bit of a duplicate side. We mentioned it before. Content takes time. I think we said this before. So, okay, let's talk about contents. Maybe, yeah. Let me talk about the contents becoming audios here. I think I have another slide with more detail on this. But all of your videos can become audio files as well. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. And they can also become PDF files. So you can send them to Fiverr, for example, and have PDFs created. And there's a couple of other places that I'll share in a slide or two. So talk about building an audience for your stuff. A 3-step process in audience building. Run likes campaigns to your fans and build up a fan base. And then run native ads to your fans. And native ads are the kinds of things we did last Thursday. Again, their website conversion ads, where you're sending them to your blog posts, and create a custom audience out of the people that have visited your website. So now you have an audience that is highly targeted. And if people don't know how to do these 3 steps, I think everybody should know how to do this at this point. But if you don't, we can do a lunch with Len or a webinar about how to do this. But the bottom line of all this is, if you create a custom audience that started off with people that liked your fan page, and then they visited your website because you gave them an ad to a blog post, you now have a very highly targeted audience for you to send ads directly to, and they're not likely to mark them as spam because they already know who you are. And so that is a very powerful way to build up your following and to build up your sales funnels. So here's the plan, Stan. And what I'm about to give you right now is, it's a combination of what Justice does and what I do, and I'll point out the areas where I don't do what I'm saying to do, but etc. So let's just start. We record a video, and generally this is the first step that I take. I know some people write the blog post first and record the video next. I generally do it backwards. I record the video. And I've been doing this for 2 or 3 years, and I find a topic that I want to talk about that I think is relevant, and then I talk about it. You might consider, as we mentioned earlier, recording 2 videos at the same time, or maybe even 3, a 15-second one, a 1-minute one, and then a 3-minute one. Once we have the video recorded, then at this point, we're going to do some keyword research, because we're going to write the description for the video. You might say, well, how can you record the video without the keywords? Well, I know what the topic of the video is. And once I get my keywords nailed down, I can fix the title of my video, and I can have the keyword in it. So, and for you, if it's easier to start with keywords and then do the video, fine. I've always done it backwards. Apparently Justice does it backwards too. And as I understand, Ray Higdon does it backwards. And they've been pretty successful. So anyhow, you want to do some keyword research and then write a description that has at least some elementary SEO in it. And I'm not claiming that you got to be the world's leading SEO expert, nor was Justice, nor was Ray, but you got to do a little bit of it. And now we upload the video plus the description to YouTube. Now, and also upload the video independently to Facebook. And remember, Facebook doesn't like YouTube, so we don't put our YouTube video on Facebook. We upload the video independently to the two different places. And if you've done an Instagram video, obviously that's another upload. Now, here's where things get to be a little bit dicey. And I'm going to tell you that I haven't been very faithful with this. For those of you who don't know what a spinner is, and I was asked yesterday by somebody who didn't know what a spinner is. So let me just take a minute or two and tell you what a spinner is, just in case you don't know. And no, it's not the clothes dryer. A spinner is a piece of software in which you load in a piece of written content, such as a blog post, and it churns out various versions of that piece of content by using synonyms, antonyms, adverbs, adjectives, da-da-da-da-da. So I might say, I love to go shopping on Sundays. And the spinner might churn out something that says shopping on Sundays is fun. I don't know. It changes it so that it's not, strictly speaking, duplicate content. I actually have a couple of spinners. I've used them. I quit using them, and I'm going to probably start using them again. And Justice also made the same comment. He's starting to spin again. And again, part of the reason being is the search engines are becoming increasingly cantankerous with duplicate content. So if I take my description that I uploaded to YouTube and I use that same exact identical word-for-word description and post it in my blog, which I've been doing, I'm putting myself in a precarious position with duplicate content. And then I carry it a step further and I send them off to eZine articles and make an article out of it. Well, okay. So I probably really should be spinning those things. And
which
spinners
do you use?
I have the best spinner, and I also have Spin Distribute, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. And again, I haven't done it for a while, but so either publish your description on your blog or spin it and publish it, or at minimum, change the first couple sentences and the title to be something slightly different so it's not absolutely identical. Change the first couple sentences, maybe the last couple sentences. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm in a very gray area here of what you can get away with, minimum, and not have it flagged as duplicate content. I just don't know. So the advice is to spin it. But if you spin it, the drawback of spinning, in my opinion, is, and my experience is, the drawback of spinning is that there aren't any good spinners out there. They're bad, poor, and worst. And so even the best spinners do a rather poor job. Now, I'm fanatical about the English language, about grammatical correctness, and etc. And even the best spinners do a poor job. So if you spin the article, you got to read it and you got to fix it. I haven't seen one version of a spun article that I read through and said, that was good. Now, you got to take the time to read them. But if you're willing to take the extra few minutes to read them, it's worth spinning them. And you only have to spin 2 or 3 times. So you spin once for you take your description for YouTube, spin it once for your blog, and then spin it once more for eZine articles. And I know I've showed you eZine articles. If you're not putting articles up on eZine, you really ought to be. It's so simple and easy to do. I mean, it's like we're talking about an extra 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes at the outside, to have your articles up on eZine and have them distributed. So step 1 of the plan. Step 2. So again, spin, distribute, upload to eZine, and then I do OnlyWire. I'm semi-faithful about posting to OnlyWire. I set up about 27 accounts on OnlyWire a couple of years ago, and I semi-faithful doing it. And the reason I say semi-faithful is, to be pretty honest with you, sometimes I plain forget, and I go, oh, I didn't do that. Okay, fine. And then I used to use Social Monkey quite a bit. I quit using it, and I'm coming back to Social Monkey to build backlinks. So, the stuff takes time, but this is putting out more real estate, taking up more real estate out there on the internet. Now, the next thing that I'm going to start doing, and I did start at one point, and I'm going to come back to it, is creating an audio file. I use Camtasia for my video editing. So when I do like Coffee with Len in the morning, I run it into Camtasia, run it through there, and clean out some of the, let's just say I clean it up a little bit. Camtasia will also produce directly an MP3 file. You can just ask for it, and it'll give you the MP3. You don't have to do anything else. There is a service out there called SpeechPad, which I've used extensively, and I would highly recommend. And you can send an audio, you can send a video file to SpeechPad, and for $1 a minute, they will transcribe it and send you a Word document or whatever format you want back. There's also Fiverr, of course. You can use Fiverr. YouTube has its own. If you use the annotations on YouTube, you can have YouTube create a audio file for you. My personal opinion is the audio file YouTube creates is very poor, and really takes, it's easier to run it through. If you have an editor like Camtasia, it's easier to run it through Camtasia, far faster. And what you'll get out of Camtasia is a good clean file, first cut. You won't have to do any editing to it. And I'm sure, I'm just not familiar with them. I'm sure other people that are using other video editing software, I'm sure, I would suspect that the video editing software that's on Macs, for example, can do audio files as well, but I don't know that. I don't have any experience. So if anyone out there has experience with that, let us know. What do you use, if you use anything to generate an audio file? But now, once you have the audio file, you can upload it to SoundCloud. And again, another piece of real estate, another piece of content out there, and people can listen to your Coffee with Len while they're driving to work instead of having to watch it. So I'm going to start doing that. I've already started to upload some files to SoundCloud, and you're going to see me doing more and more and more of that. So, I think that's going to be another powerful way to get in front of people. And of course, having your own podcast, etc. Let me close this out with the following comment. Why don't people do all of this stuff, or do some of it at least? Well, the first one is self-image. We mentioned this before. People are afraid. People think they don't have authority. People think no one wants to hear what they have to say. Bullpucky. Remember, you're not. If you write a blog post, your objective is not to teach Ray Higdon. Your objective is to teach you yesterday. Your objective is to be one step ahead of your customers, clients, potential business partners. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be one step ahead. You know things today that you didn't know yesterday. Write about them. If I told you anything in this broadcast, in this Lunch with Len webinar today that you didn't know before today, write about it. Write up a blog that says, I attended Lunch with Len, and guess what I learned? Write a 300-word article about it. Make a video and post it. And if you're not sure how to promote, a lot of people say, well, I got it. Now what do I do with it? Well, I've just given you a whole bunch of ideas about what to do with it. It's not hard. The biggest challenge for many of us is it does take time. I'm not going to kid you about that. All of this stuff takes time, which is one of the reasons I get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I can go through that whole process. I get up at 4 in the morning. I do my, and I'm going to kill. We're going to be done in 1 minute. But I get up at 4 in the morning. I do my personal development, and I do my reading, and I figure out what Coffee with Len is all about. And right now the sun's coming up late, so pretty soon we're going to go back onto standard time, and that's going to help a bit, because right now I can't really record till about 7 o'clock, which throws me really late. But if I can get out there with the camera at 6 in the morning or close to 6, I can have the Coffee with Len all up, and I distribute to a pretty wide number of websites and places these days. I can have it all up and done by 8 o'clock. I can have a YouTube video up and a description written by 8:15, 20 after. It takes me 15 or 20 minutes to write a description. And then if I want to turn it into a blog post, that takes it maybe another half hour. And basically the bottom line is by 9 o'clock, I can be done with almost all of that stuff. I can be done. If I'm going to put it up on ezine, then I need another 15 minutes. But the fact is, if you start doing this and just do it every day, you will get very good at it, and you will find it in, you can do this all in 2 or 3 hours. You can do every bit of it in 2 or 3 hours. But you got to do it frequently enough to get really, really smooth and good at it. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to stop the share. End the slideshow. Come back to, am I back? Can you see me?
You're back.
I'm back. All righty. All right, 12:07. I ran a little over. Sorry about that, but it's all right. I hope you got value. Did anybody get value out of this today? Let me know in the chat. Is this good stuff? Because I think we covered some things that are, I think we covered some old stuff, but I think we also covered some new stuff. And this is a nice, complete package. So, I'm hoping there's some comments. Once again, I'm going to invite everybody. I'll put up an email about it. I'd like to bring up the attendance on Lunch with Len. What can we do to make this more attractive? And also on Thursday, let's chat about what's working for you and what isn't. We're coming up on, we only got 2 more months to go to the end of the year. What can we do to finish the year and to get ourselves where we want to be? So how can we help each other? So with that in mind, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Chris. With that in mind, I'm just going to sort of hang out here for another few seconds. And yeah, Chris, you're going to tell us a little bit about Web of Trust on Thursday also. I mean, I don't think it's a very big deal, but tell us exactly what we need to do to go help the MLSP image on Facebook.
Yes.
And et cetera. So, all right, thanks, Michael. All right, well, that's just, I've almost heard from everybody. I don't know, is Bob, are you still on, or did you freeze up out there? Bob, he's on the other side of that. Oh, by the way, hey, Rick, yeah. By the way, I get to go home tomorrow morning. I told you that. Chris is questioning the wisdom of that. I'll tell you, Chris, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and then I'll hang this up. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm nervous. And the reason is I don't want to dislocate in Mexico again. That was the epitome of life's ugly experiences. You don't ever want to do that. And but I think, I mean, sooner or later I have to bite the bullet and go back. I think I have it under control. So wish me well. I'm going to continue to be cautious with this leg for the next few weeks. We're coming up on almost 3 weeks now and I haven't dislocated. So with that, folks, I'll let you go. Thanks for coming. We'll look forward to talking on Thursday. Bye for now.
Bye.